despite how different our beliefs are, that you are actually a nice guy. I am. Except, nice guys don't force themselves on girls. Just like you need to prove to a court that you're innocent or seek justice. Hold on, Quinlan. Before we go any further, do you think that my son is guilty of what he's being accused of? I just hope that you believe my side of things. It would really encourage me to keep what we shared to myself. Hey Vanessa. Ulissa. Hey. You doing okay? You seem a bit exhausted. Don't worry about me. I actually needed to speak with you. About what? About Max. Zeke, hey Michelle. How's my beautiful girl doing? Depends. How are you doing? I'm good. You sure? Yeah. But it sounds like you need to get something off your chest. You caught me. Just like I caught you. Caught me doing what? Caught you talking to Yvette Mitchell after I told you not to. Did you get any updates from Terry yet? Not yet. But that's what today is for. I'll just flat out ask her if she was my great-grandparents' doctor. If I don't feel like she's being truthful, I'll just have to look through my great-grandparents' medical records. Just had to be sure. I was wondering whether what your little brother was going through would throw you off guard. My brother shouldn't be going through what he's going through right now. The best thing is to keep doing my thing and make sure that he's okay. Ben, are you sure that your brother's innocent? I never thought that I would ever have to appear in court, other than jury duty. Don't worry about that. Just remember that you did nothing wrong. All you have to do is tell the truth. Tendez, madame ou. Bon Dieu va protéger ou Jeremiah. Ou besoin gain courage. Hey everyone. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for coming. I just want to say how sorry I am for everything your family is going through and to let you know that you're all in my prayers. Thank you, Mr. Dorval. But don't worry about me. Today is about making sure that the Russos don't claim another victim. Let's go in. Shut up. Shut up. Your father will lose. He will lose everything. You and your family will lose everything. What about Max? Did you hear about him and Yvette Mitchell? I think Olive Valley Park heard about that by now. I'm just disgusted about what he did to her. So you think he actually did it? Everything I've heard makes sense to me. Well, it doesn't make sense to me, Vanessa. I don't think Yvette is telling the truth. Nichelle, why did you wait a whole day to say something? Because I was waiting for you to tell me. Imagine my surprise when you kept it to yourself, almost like you knew I would be upset. 'Cause I knew that you would be upset. Then why did you get anywhere near Yvette when I told you not to? Like I told you, she's in my French class. When I heard what Max did to her, I wanted to see how she was doing. It ain't like I planned to meet with her. I just ran into her in the cafeteria and couldn't ignore her. I'll admit it, I do feel bad for what Max put her through. I always knew there was something dark about that boy. Thank you for seeing where I'm coming from. It doesn't make me any more happy, Zeke. I still don't like that you did what I asked you not to do. How could you ask me something like that? I'm sorry, Ben. Are you? It was just the wrong way to ask. All I know is that your brother had intercourse with Yvette Mitchell. It's your brother's word against hers. Where's your journalistic integrity, Quinlan? You don't even know my brother. You're right. But what I do know is that he went to the Mitchell house to get something. Let me give you the inside scoop on Max Russo then. Ben, please. When he was born, I was like 9. He was the happiest baby I've ever seen. Unlike me, Max was outgoing. He behaved. Never once have I ever seen that kid mistreat anyone. When I began drinking and using drugs, he was the only person in my family to always see if I was okay. My little brother wanted to take care of me, while my own family looked down on me and wanted to mold me into their perfect image. Max accepted me for who I was. He still does. Did you know that he agreed to help bug my uncle's bedroom? You didn't tell me that. Because I didn't have to. Even after this whole mess with Yvette came out, he still wanted me to keep the bug in Isidor's room to help clear Jeremiah Dorval's name. Does that sound like someone who would force themselves on anyone, Quinlan? Thank you for giving me the chance to try and make things right with your family. Helping you and Max out has really helped Ellen and I to get along again. You offered me a discount, and I wasn't gonna pass on that, Harley. Just make sure that you help me win this case. Alright, Mr. Dorval. Can you explain to the court what happened on the day that Mr. Isidore Rousseau claims that you attacked him? That day, I went outside and I saw my father speaking with Mr. Rousseau. I asked my father to get back inside the house, and I told Mr. Rousseau to leave. He then used the fact that he's the brother-in-law of the district attorney against me, trying to make me feel like I couldn't call the cops. Because he tried telling me that the cops wouldn't do anything, he said that the only way to get him out of my house was to put hands on him, which I didn't. What made Mr. Rousseau leave? I walked away, and I never once saw a single scratch on his face. But this wasn't your first interaction with Mr. Rousseau. No. When did you first meet him? He came to my place of business. Once again, he was not invited. Instead of asking me to help him with heating or air ventilation, he came by to try and convince me that he was trying to apologize for his brother Gianni's actions, but he only did so to try and get me to convince Devontae Torres to keep his scholarship event at Theodosius's palace. What did Gianni do to you, Mr. Dorval? Someone trashed my HVAC business, and I believe that Gianni was behind it. Objection. This is only speculation. Your Honor, there was never any report of a complaint against my client's brother. Sustained. No further questions. I have some questions for the defendant. Mr. Dorval, why do you believe that my client's brother had your business trashed? He was offended by me telling his son to stay away from my daughter. Did you call my client's brother and make a time to meet with him? No. Wouldn't that mean that you were uninvited at the Rousseau estate? Objection. Your Honor, this is hearsay. Your Honor, this is only a simple question. My client's character was questioned, and I would like the court to understand the defendant's character. Overruled. Mr. Dorval, were you invited to the Rousseau estate? No. And no one was around when you and my client had this exchange outside of your house, correct? That's correct. Which only means that my client was the only witness and he was clearly battered. Did you want to batter my client, Mr. Dorval? Objection. Your Honor, she's badgering my client. Once again, Your Honor, I'm only trying to understand Mr. Dorval's headspace around the time of this alleged attack. Overruled. Mr. Dorval, did you get angry to the point where you wanted to hurt my client? Yes. This is all your fault. Your father is in court because of you. You're in big trouble and you need to disappear. Did you forget that Max constantly pursued me when I constantly told him that I wasn't interested? Did you forget that Yvette's the type of girl to sleep around? So what, Ulissa? That means she deserved what she got? Of course not, but that's only if she was telling the truth. She isn't. Yvette only claimed that Max forced himself on her because her parents found out what she was up to and threw Max under the bus when she was caught. And Max told you this? He didn't have to tell me anything. I knew the very second I heard about this. I'm surprised by your behavior in all of this. Surprised about what? You're supposed to be this good Christian, but you refuse to hear Max's side of things. Come on, Nichelle. It ain't like Yvette will try to jump at the chance to be with me after what Max did to her. You can't be too careful. People respond to trauma in extremely different ways. I'm sorry for making you upset. All I wanted to do was see if Yvette was okay. Can you forgive me? Alright. I can't stay mad at you for caring about someone, but not more than me, right? Zeke Franklin? The way you're describing him, he doesn't sound like a pervert. I'm not just describing him. That's the sort of guy Max is. Alright, just forget I asked. I will. And I better not hear you speak or even do a feature as if my little brother is guilty. Not if you want to keep working with me. Got it? Got it. I'm about to head to the hospital. When I leave, I suggest you get out of my office too. Okay, Mr. Russo. Can you explain your side of things? What Mr. Duval said was true. I did provoke him and I left. While I was driving, I noticed a car driving behind me. I noticed that it kept going my direction. Then I pulled over and got out of my car. That was the biggest mistake I ever made because the next thing I know, Jeremiah Duval rushed towards me and started beating on me like I was some sort of punching bag. And he just left you there? Without saying anything? It was like he was some sort of monster. I'm thankful to even be alive. What happened after? I quickly got into my car and sped off to the hospital. In your condition, you'd be surprised by what you can do in order to survive. Essador, do you think that people would consider you to be an honest man? I sure would hope so. Would Isabel Torres consider you to be an honest man? Objection! Your Honor, this has no relevance to the case. My client claims that he had nothing to do with Mr. Russo's beating. I am trying to see if Mr. Russo would be the sort of man to let an innocent man take the fall for what someone else did. Overruled. But I will rephrase the question. Mr. Russo, why did you and Isabel Torres part ways? We grew apart. Is that it? You two just happened to grow apart? It wasn't because of your dirty, dishonest ways of doing business or messing with the lives of others? Objection, Your Honor, he's badgering my client. Sustained. What about your brother Gianni? Would he have considered you to be an honest man? Aren't you two trying to battle each other in order to be the next in charge of your family's company? Objection, Your Honor, once again this serves as no relevance to the case. I'll rephrase my question. Mr. Russo, would you do anything to become the next CEO of your family's company? Remember, you're under oath. Yes, I would work hard, Mr. Russo. Is it fair to say that you have a fair share of enemies? I think you know the answer to that. Mr. Russo, I would appreciate it if you answer Mr. Mitchell's question. Yes, my family and I have had a fair share of enemies throughout the years. What about your ex-wife, who happens to be your attorney? You divorced her and took full custody of the son you shared with her. Don't you think that she considers you to be an enemy? Objection! I'll move on. What about Wanda Mitchell, who I happen to be married to? She's accused you of sabotaging her for months. There is physical proof of this accusation. Mr. Russo, you seem to have a line of enemies because of your actions. Objection! Your Honor, Mr. Mitchell is badgering my client once again. No further questions. Ulissa, when I heard about what Max did, it shook me. I understand how it felt like for him to not take no for an answer. It made me wonder what would have happened if I told him no if I was alone with him. Don't you understand how much that bothered me? There was a difference. When he kept on pursuing you, it annoyed you. You never once told me that you felt scared of him or that he ever made you feel uncomfortable. Most of all, he never once touched you. I never would have let him, but Yvette did. And she ended up paying the price. Just because Max never touched me didn't mean that he didn't want to. Who's asking? Zeke, do you mind if I check your bag? Yeah, I mind. You're on school grounds and I have every right to check your bag. For what? Zeke, just do it. Whatever she's looking for, she won't find. Nah, I ain't doing nothing without a lawyer. Then I'll have to check your bag after I take you to the station. Zeke Franklin, I'm arresting you for possession of illegal substances in a public building. You have the right to remain silent. Dr. Burke, Dr. Burke, it's Ben Russo. Are you in there? Terry? Guess I'll look for files before you have the chance to walk in here. Tia? What are you doing in my office? What are you doing with my late aunt's diary? Okay, Mr. Russo. Did you ever forbid Alan from visiting your ex-wife? In other words, me? No, I did not. Would you explain to the court why you decided to drop charges against Mr. Dorval? Even though he battered me, I just couldn't take a man away from his family. But she still decided to sue him. I was raised to take accountability. Even though I couldn't bring myself to see Mr. Dorval go to jail, I couldn't let him get away with what he's done. Run away, JJ. No one wants you here. No one will miss you. Run away.